Theodore Lancaster, a vessel filled with the grit of determination, the generosity born of old scars, and a valor tempered in the crucible of past battles with unseen demons, stood solemnly at the edge of the looming labyrinth that was Westminster, Colorado. His pale blue eyes, hardened by years of unflinching confrontation with the truth, peered into the city's murky underbelly. Each wrinkle etched into his weather-beaten face was a testament to a story of a childhood marred by the gnawing pain of hunger, a youth spent grappling with the cold grip of addiction, and an adulthood defined by a relentless pursuit of truth. He carried these tales not as burdens, but as badges of honor, proud reminders of a journey that had chiseled an ordinary man into an extraordinary testament of resilience. He began his descent, initiating a series of interviews with the locals. He engaged with a nervous barkeep, whose eyes darted to the dark alleyway each time a sewer grate clanged in the distance. "Been hearing odd things, I have," he confided, his voice barely above a whisper. "Sounds coming from down below. Not right, they ain't." Then an old woman, Madame Leary, with her collection of stray cats, spoke of her darlings vanishing mysteriously. "One by one they disappeared," she wept, clutching an empty pet collar. "All I find are these," she revealed, a handful of strange symbols scratched onto tiny metal discs. Through the bustling streets and quiet corners of Westminster, Theodore moved like a shadow, absorbing the stories, the hints of a chilling narrative that seeped through the cracks of the city's facade. As the sun dipped below the skyline, painting the world in hues of impending dread, the city morphed. The once innocuous network of streets now seemed like veins leading to the heart of a colossal beast, the rhythmic tremors from the underground mimicking the pulsating beat of an unseen monstrosity lurking beneath. The city of Westminster had become a living entity, shrouded in an unsettling calm, its inhabitants blissfully unaware of the escalating terror beneath their feet. And amid the ignorance of the multitude stood one man, a lone sentinel named Theodore, pulled by the threads of truth towards the impending abyss. His resolve was hardened by the day's revelations and the city's unspoken fears. He stood before the entrance to the city's sewer system, the putrid stench of rotting decay weaving a macabre greeting. The chilling accounts he had collected led him here, into the belly of the darkness that undulated beneath the mundane, ready to swallow him whole. He steeled himself, stepping into the fetid darkness, leaving the world of the known behind and descending into the maw of the unknown. The labyrinthine veins of Westminster's sewer system unfurled before Theodore, an eerie spectacle of damp stone and shadow. A cold wind whispered through the blackened tunnels, carrying with it the ghostly echoes of the city above and the disturbing sounds of things that scuttled unseen in the dark. The stench of decay hung heavy in the dank air, seeping into his worn-out trench coat and stirring up ancient ghosts of his impoverished past. Memories, long since buried beneath layers of resilience, rose to the surface. His heart, a grizzled veteran of countless battles, skipped a beat. Yet he pushed forward, driven by the intoxicating allure of the truth that lay shrouded in the depths below. Around him, the brick-lined walls bore the scars of time, adorned with cryptic symbols that spoke of a hidden world. Marks of claw and strange weapons were etched into the hard stone, silent testaments to clandestine rituals conducted in the gloom. Yet he found no signs of the human touch, no trace of the weapons dealers, no sounds of hushed conversations or stealthy footsteps, just the slow drip of condensation from the arched ceiling and the occasional distant, echoing wail of a creature best left unseen. However, he heard something else beneath the echoes, an uncanny symphony that pricked at his senses. A throbbing hum, almost inaudible, but persistent enough to gnaw at the edges of his consciousness. It was a dissonant chorus that seemed to emerge from the very heart of the sewers, a throbbing pulse that resonated with an energy he couldn't comprehend. As he ventured deeper, his ever-watchful eyes noticed an unsettling pattern. The cryptic symbols were becoming increasingly complex, the markings on the walls more frenzied. He felt an oppressive weight in the air, a charge that tingled on his skin and tasted of iron on his tongue. He descended further into the abyss, the darkness wrapping around him like a shroud. His once reliable flashlight flickered, casting long, malformed shadows that danced upon the damp walls, teasing his imagination with visions of grotesque silhouettes. The labyrinth yielded nothing but a creeping sense of dread that clung to him, a dread that was not wholly unfamiliar. It echoed his own battles with addiction, the persistent whisper in the back of his mind, the relentless draw towards the abyss. His past and present entwined, blurring the lines between the metaphorical and the literal darkness that loomed ahead. Eventually, he reached an intersection, a confluence of the labyrinth's veins. The hum was louder here, a deafening pulse that reverberated through his bones. He raised his flickering flashlight, and as the beam of light cut through the darkness, his heart froze. In the cavernous chamber ahead, a bluish glow pulsed rhythmically, casting a spectral illumination that revealed an opening in the wall, a doorway into another realm, a portal that shimmered with an otherworldly energy and echoed with the cries of alien horrors from beyond. Fear coursed through him, but it was quickly replaced by the journalist's innate thirst for truth. With a deep, steadying breath, he stepped towards the pulsating portal, his heart echoing the rhythm of the throbbing hum of cosmic horror. The shimmering portal stood before him, an alien spectacle that seemed to distort the very fabric of reality. An unworldly aura rippled from it, a sight as awe-inspiring as it was terrifying, revealing a glimpse into a realm where the laws of nature bowed to an alien order. The spectral illumination refracted off the wet sewer walls, casting a ghostly dance of lights around the chamber. It painted the mundane world in hues of an unknown spectrum, bringing an ethereal beauty to the rotten decay. This was no longer the sewer system beneath Westminster. It was the antechamber to a reality far beyond human comprehension. The alien whispers that leaked from the portal intensified, their pitch and rhythm morphing into a symphony that resonated with his very soul. They sounded like tortured cries one moment and ecstatic hymns the next. It was an unsettling concert of alien emotions that played havoc on his sanity. The portal pulsed rhythmically, each beat seeming to synchronize with his own heartbeat. The pull was overwhelming, tugging at the seams of his reality, urging him to step into the unknown. It reminded him of the beckoning whispers of addiction that he had battled for years, a seductive siren song promising a respite from the mundane world. A shudder rippled through him. This wasn't the fear of an intrepid journalist standing before an unknown abyss. This was something much deeper. It was the dread of a man who had fought and bled for every inch of his sanity, now faced with a force that could unravel his mind like a ball of yarn. Despite the surging fear, he found himself drawn to the portal. Its alien allure resonated with his relentless pursuit of truth, his inner compulsion to uncover the mysteries of the world, no matter how terrifying. He took a step closer, the whispers crescendoing into a deafening roar, the portal's light intensifying, blinding him with its otherworldly brilliance. Suddenly, the reality he knew fractured, as visions from the other side seeped into his mind. Images of cyclopean structures that defied geometry, of celestial bodies that swirled in an eternal dance of cosmic horror, and of creatures so alien, so horrifying, that his mind recoiled in primal terror. The vision was brief, yet it felt like an eternity. As his mind was thrust back into the dank sewer, he was left gasping. The after-image of the horrors he had glimpsed burned into his retinas. He took a moment to gather his wits, his journalistic instincts forcing him to process the reality of what he had witnessed. The portal wasn't just a doorway to another world. It was a bridge to a realm that scoffed at the very concept of human understanding. It was a gaping maw into the cosmic abyss. Fear had momentarily paralyzed him, but his unwavering spirit began to stir. His gaze hardened, his grip on his flashlight tightened, and with the echoes of his past battles with addiction serving as a grim reminder of his resilience, he took another step towards the portal. This was no longer just an investigation. It was a fight against the cosmic horrors that lurked beyond the veil of reality. Stepping into the portal felt like stepping into a dream. Reality seemed to stretch and warp, his senses swallowed by a spectral tempest of unnameable colors and maddening whispers. It was a moment of cosmic vertigo, a terrifying plunge into the depths of an alien abyss. When the distortion subsided, Theodore found himself in a realm that defied comprehension. This alien landscape was not beholden to the laws of nature he knew. It spat in the face of logic and geometry. Towering structures of impossible architecture punctuated a skyline illuminated by the spectral light of celestial bodies that twisted and writhed in an eternal dance. Around him, indescribable entities moved, creatures that existed beyond the spectrum of human understanding, their forms a grotesque symphony of chaos and beauty. Their voices were the whispers he heard, a language that seemed to bypass his ears and echo directly within his mind, carrying emotions that ran the gamut from ecstatic joy to agonizing despair. The dread that had initially consumed him gradually morphed into a morbid fascination. The overwhelming horrors around him were slowly becoming a siren song, drawing him deeper into this labyrinth of cosmic monstrosities. At the heart of this alien landscape, he felt a presence, a dark power that seemed to seep through every atom of its reality. It was a force that was as terrifying as it was intoxicating, a sensation that reminded him of the allure of addiction, a promise of an escape from the mundane, of a respite from his personal demons. As he moved closer to this dark power, he felt it acknowledging his presence. It was an ancient consciousness, a cosmic entity that existed beyond the confines of time and space. It seemed to scrutinize him, a man standing on the precipice of sanity, teetering on the edge of an abyss that promised to swallow him whole. The entity seemed to communicate with him, its voice a melody of alien thoughts that washed over his consciousness. It seemed to know his past, his struggles, his victories. It knew of his battles with addiction, of his relentless pursuit of truth. It promised him understanding, a chance to see the universe from a vantage point that transcended the limits of human comprehension. The entity's offer was tempting. In his heart, Theodore felt the same tug he had felt in his battles with addiction, a craving for an escape, a yearning for a solace that seemed just within his reach. The parallel was not lost on him, his past and present once again colliding in a poignant reminder of his lifelong struggle. He stood there on the threshold of sanity, staring into the cosmic abyss that beckoned him. The journey from the familiar streets of Westminster to this alien landscape had been a dizzying descent, yet it was a journey he had chosen, a path he had walked willingly. Despite the overwhelming terror and the crushing weight of his insignificance in the face of this cosmic horror, he felt a grim determination set in. His past battles with addiction had taught him that surrender was not an option. His final thoughts, as he stood on the precipice of this alien world, were of the world he had left behind, blissfully unaware of the terrors lurking beneath their feet. The final step felt like the longest Theodore had ever taken. It was a step away from the world he knew, a step away from the man he was, a step into the embrace of the cosmic abyss. The alien landscape seemed to warp around him, the impossible structures bending inwards, as if in reverence to the dark power. The celestial bodies spiraled in a dance of unimaginable chaos, their ethereal lights painting the horizon with hues of unworldly splendor. The entities around him ceased their grotesque ballet, turning their attention to the lone human standing before the dark power. Their indescribable forms quivered in anticipation, the alien symphony of their voices reaching a crescendo that echoed within his consciousness. In the pulsating heart of this alien realm, the dark power awaited. Its presence was overwhelming, a cosmic behemoth that dwarfed his existence. He could feel it scrutinizing him, peeling back the layers of his psyche, unearthing his deepest fears and greatest triumphs, his battles with addiction, his relentless pursuit of truth. This was a power that didn't simply exist in this realm. It was the realm. It was the alien structures, the celestial bodies, the grotesque entities. It was the very fabric of this reality, a consciousness woven into the cosmic tapestry of the universe. The dark power's whispers turned into a haunting lullaby, a melody that seemed to resonate with his very soul. It offered him a place among the cosmic elite, a chance to shed his humanity, to transcend his mortal coil. It promised an escape from his past, from the chains of his addiction, from the confines of his reality. Despite the dread gnawing at him, Theodore felt the allure of the dark power's promise. It wasn't just the thrill of the unknown or the temptation of power that tugged at his heart. It was the promise of escape, an escape from the relentless trials and tribulations of his life, an escape from his past and from himself. Yet as he stood on the precipice of the abyss, a single thought floated to the surface of his mind. Every battle he had fought, every demon he had conquered, every scar etched onto his soul had made him the man he was. To surrender to the abyss was to deny his journey, his struggles, his victories. It was to deny himself. With that realization, Theodore made his choice. He took a deep, steadying breath and stepped towards the dark power, not in surrender, but in defiance. He stepped forward as a man who knew his place in the universe, a man who understood his insignificance in the grand cosmic ballet, yet refused to bow down. As he stepped into the embrace of the dark power, he did so not as a victim, but as a participant. He surrendered not to the abyss, but to his destiny. His last thought, as the dark power enveloped him, was not one of fear, but of acceptance. We appreciate you tuning in. If you fancied the content, show your support with a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to keep up with our eerie adventures. Eldritch Tales Factory has plenty more to offer. Until next time.